I slept naked to teach my roommate's boyfriend a lesson. I live with my childhood best friend and have for the past 2 years, and things were perfect up until now. She recently just got a boyfriend and he's been spending a lot of time at our place. In the beginning, I didn't really mind because him and I became good friends, like he's a cool person, but now things have gotten weird. He seemingly has an aversion to knocking. I mean, he just barges into my room without knocking. This has happened a few times and fortunately, he has never walked in on me doing anything weird. However, on at least 7 separate occasions, he's been doing it first thing in the morning. Like he just barges into my room asking me if I want coffee. I sleep naked, but obviously I sleep under the covers, so he's never seen anything. I'm not a very confrontational person, but I have told him that he should knock first. He always responds to it as if I'm joking. He giggles and he says, well, but I didn't. I just needed to teach him a lesson. So last week when he slept over, instead of sleeping naked like I usually do under the covers, I decided that I was going to sleep naked, but on top of the covers. And sure enough, he barges into my room at 7 a.m. and there I am, laying naked on top of my bed. He immediately backed out of the room and didn't speak to me for the whole day. Then later, my friend pulled me aside and she was screaming at me. She was absolutely furious. She thought I was like trying to seduce him, which couldn't be further from the truth. They're now talking about this with everyone we know. They're talking to me as if I'm like some sick creep who intentionally wanted to seduce her boyfriend by laying on top of the bed naked. But on the other hand, I can kind of see where they're coming from. So am I in the wrong here? I asked the guy that I was dating to not look at me while I was naked in the shower, and he did anyway, so I don't know if I should keep dating him. I've been really sick and decided to take a bath right after work, and he was there with me. He was just supposed to sit down on the toilet talking to me. Like I said, we've only known each other for 2 months, and nothing happened yet. And I said it's okay for him to come into the bathroom, but I just told him that I didn't want him to look. I told him don't open the shower curtain. I don't feel well, and I don't want to be exposed. Like, I was sick and I was on my period, so no. I said this to him multiple times even before he came into the bathroom, and he said okay, obviously. For about 10 minutes, we're just having a good conversation. Everything is going well, until out of nowhere, he just rips the shower curtain. I immediately sat up shocked and embarrassed that he had just done that. He then has the nerve to laugh and to say that I shouldn't take this so seriously because we've known each other for 2 months, so it's not like we're strangers. I really liked him and that's part of the reason why I wanted to take things slow. I mean, I've only dated older guys and he's the first younger guy that I've dated, but I think this is a very big red flag, so I don't know if I should keep seeing him. So for many years, I worked as a pole dancer, and I have no shame in what I did, and I only quit because I got a better job. Back when I was working as a pole dancer, I made sure to live as cheaply as possible. Like, I never went shopping, always with old clothes. I lived in a very bad apartment because all my coworkers told me at the time that as long as you don't spend a lot of money, you were able to buy your own place with that income. So before I retired, I managed to outright buy myself a 3-bedroom apartment. I met my boyfriend about a year ago, and he knows about all of this. There are no lies between us. He's never had a problem with my employment history. However, he makes sure that his family doesn't know, and they think that I was a waitress. About a month ago, we found out that I'm 2 months pregnant, and we got super excited. And he immediately says that we should move in together. I immediately assumed he'd be moving into my place because he rents his and I own mine. I don't want to leave my flat because I own this place and I could see myself living here forever. But he doesn't agree and he says that we should buy a place together and that I should sell mine. I told him that I don't want to sell this flat because it was a lot of years of working really hard and saving a lot of money to be able to buy this flat. And that's when he finally admitted that he didn't want to live at a place that I had bought with the money that I got from my previous job. And I told him that I wasn't going to lose the security of owning a home just because he's embarrassed of what I did. He said that his point was that if I sold this house, then we could buy one together with the money from the sale. And that's when I asked him, well, wouldn't that be pole dancing money too? He said it's completely different, and I asked him how, and that's when he said that he was too tired to talk and he had to head home because he couldn't talk to me while I was in that state. Now he's been texting me nonstop saying that I overreacted and that I need to calm myself down, saying that I need to think about this logically rather than emotionally. He then brought up the fact that he didn't want to raise a kid in this house. I'm kind of questioning if I'm in the wrong here because I talked to my sister and she's siding with him. So am I in the wrong here? My boyfriend told me that I looked pregnant, so this is what I did. We've only been dating for a few months, and right in the beginning of us dating, he asked me the worst thing a guy could ask a girl. I was already super in love with him, that's why I couldn't leave him after this. He asked me, why'd you look pregnant? You can imagine how insecure and embarrassed I was after my crush just asked me that. I said, no, I'm just bloated, and he tried to backtrack and apologize, saying that he was asking because he was worried that I might actually be pregnant. Anyway, so I was determined to prove him wrong. I've always struggled with bloating, and I never found an answer, and after this, I was just looking for answers everywhere. I did all the diets, took all the supplements, and nothing. So I have to share here the only thing that worked. It's this jelly stick from a Korean brand called Foodology. I absolutely love Korean brands. I've never seen a supplement with this kind of consistency. You take one every day and it genuinely has been the only thing that has helped me with my bloating. The only thing that actually made me feel confident with my boyfriend not thinking that I look pregnant. Am I in the wrong for telling a girl who's obsessed with my boyfriend that she's pathetic and desperate? So I study drama at uni, and so does my boyfriend. I'm pretty used to seeing him get a lot of attention from girls, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not a jealous girlfriend. I'm pretty confident in my relationship. However, there's this one girl in our class who's actually obsessed with him. She always goes out of her way to be paired with him in group activities, and the most obvious thing that happened recently was that she stepped down of a main role for a major play that it's gonna happen, so she could be in a more minor one just to play a character that gets to kiss my boyfriend. And I know this is the case because I've heard her say to her friends that she thinks my boyfriend is very hot. Oh, and she 100% knows that I'm his girlfriend, by the way. the way, because we don't make it a secret, like everybody knows. I've been noticing her little crush on him for a very long time, and I've never really said anything because I just didn't feel threatened by her. I mean, I can tell that she's a very insecure girl. We recently performed that play, and then afterwards we had a small after party, and she had a lot to drink. She was bragging to her friends about how she felt something when she kissed my boyfriend on that play, and that she's going to ask him if he felt the same way. I don't take it seriously. I just roll my eyes and I ignore it because it's so ridiculous. So I'm very chill about all of this until she actually goes up to my boyfriend, who, by the way, is next to me. The amount of disrespect it takes for you to go up to a guy who has his girlfriend by his side and ask him if he felt a spark when he kissed you too. I didn't say anything right away because besides her speaking at lightning speed, I was also shocked. But then after about 30 seconds of her not shutting up, that's when I finally snapped. I said, "You sound incredibly desperate going after someone's boyfriend." And I also said, "You're pathetic if you think a stage kiss meant something." She looked super embarrassed and she didn't say anything. She just walked away. And I later found out that she went home crying. Her friends haven't stopped calling me names since, and I'm kind of wondering, like, am I in the wrong here? This is how my boyfriend almost accidentally unalived me. My family owns a crossbow that we usually shoot at a target on our property. When my father got it, it was supposed to be a gift for me, even though like everyone in the family does it. But I'm very careful with it because it's not like it's super dangerous, but it can be dangerous. So it's not a toy, like you have to be careful with it. It doesn't shoot actual arrows, it shoots these pencil-sized darts with sharp metal tips. Whenever my friends come over, they always want to do it, and it's fine. Like I just teach them how to do it, and I've never had any problems. I recently have gotten into a new relationship, and my boyfriend had never done it. One day, out of the blue, he just randomly calls me and asks me to shoot at my crossbow, and I tell him, okay, like fine, come over. The warning signs were there. I mean, he got there and he was very excited to do it. Like he couldn't wait. He wanted to start doing it immediately, but like I said, he had never done this before, so I told him to slow down because I had to go over protocol with him. We don't know each other that well, and in retrospect, I think that he might have had a lot to drink, to be honest. He did it a few times. He was really happy because he was hitting the target, and then I went to grab more darts from the dart box that was behind the direction of the target, essentially completely opposite to the line of fire. It all happened really fast. I mean, I just remember a sharp thud hit my head and then it all went black for a moment. Fortunately, I had no pain, but I just remember looking at him with the crossbow in his hand, like wide-eyed as a deer. That's when I started to scream, and I know I shouldn't have done this, but in the moment, like I instinctively pulled the dart out of my head. He looked more in shock than I was because I had to yell at him to call 911 because he wouldn't do it. He was just frozen. Then very quickly, police and the medics showed up, and I was pretty lucid. They quickly told me that that wasn't like a very severe injury, so that calmed me down. However, the place where the dart hit was an inch between my eye and temple. I also immediately told the police that this was an accident, that my boyfriend didn't mean to do it because he couldn't talk. Like he was in shock. He was frozen. I went to the hospital and I was let out very quickly. It's been a week and I haven't wanted to speak to my boyfriend. I mean, he has tried to call me and ask me if I was okay, and I told him that I am. I just needed to distance myself from him to process everything because I can't ignore that there was so much dangerous stupidity from him. I can't understand how he had his safety off and how he had turned away from the target, faced me, and shot. How am I ever going to feel comfortable with him again? I dated this guy who did something horrible to his ex, and he's now going to get married, and I don't know if I should warn her. I was dating this guy for 3 months in the beginning of the year, and he sounded like the perfect guy to me. Everything with us was going well until we started talking about exes. We had both been previously engaged, so that was something that we kind of bonded over. I told him that I was engaged at 18 years old, and that was like the dumbest mistake that I've ever made in my life. And he said that he had been engaged 4 years ago, but he never talked about the reasons why it ended. Like he always gave very vague reasons. He said the usual, like, we just grew apart. I mean, sometimes this really is a case on why people break up, but I just had a hint that he cheated on her for some reason. I guess it's because he was always avoiding the conversation, so I was like, you have something to hide for sure. Cheating is obviously inexcusable. I have cheated on the past and I would never do it again, so I know that people can actually change. So the reason why I stopped talking to him wasn't because I thought that he was a cheater. It was because of something worse that he had done. Basically, when I met his mutual friends, one of them added me on Instagram and just started talking about everything that he knew about him. So apparently this man's ex-fiance was diagnosed with a terminal illness right after the engagement, and her last wish was to have her wedding day, like her perfect wedding day, and go on this epic honeymoon before she passed. He promised her all of this too and kept stringing her along until a few days before the wedding. Out of nowhere, he completely panicked, started looking for jobs abroad, and moved to England just a few days before their wedding and got a local new girlfriend just the week after. She never got an explanation. He blocked her as soon as he landed in England. And at some point, he did unblock her just to tell her that he was with someone else and to apologize to her, but then he blocked her again immediately. So his ex-fiance ended up passing alone. Like she had no family of her own. No one was there for her in her last year of life. When I heard this, I couldn't believe it. I immediately confronted her and he panicked. He was lying, saying that it wasn't true, but then eventually he confessed it. He was begging me to stay with him, but I obviously would never be with someone like this. He had the nerve to say, I would never do this if it were you. Like, oh my god. So now I heard that he's engaged to a random 22-year-old and he's flexing it all over social media. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm very tempted to tell her because there's no way she knows about this, because how on earth would someone ever marry someone that did this to someone else? I know it's not my place, it's none of my business, but at the same time, like, I would want someone to tell me this. So the question is, do I tell her? My mom won't talk to me because I jumped out of a window to try to escape a reunion with my cheating ex that she was forcing. I dated my ex for 4 years, and in the beginning of this month, I found out that he was cheating on me. I immediately broke up with him. Like, I've always known that I would never be able to forgive cheating. He obviously begged and begged and begged, but I didn't fold. The problem is that in my mind, getting cheated on is completely humiliating. So when I broke up with him, I didn't tell anyone why I was breaking up with him. So everyone has been blaming me for the breakup, including my mom, who absolutely loved him. So everyone just thinks that I dumped him out of the blue. And he obviously isn't going to be the one who tells the truth because it's also embarrassing for him. So after I broke up with him, I went no contact immediately and I blocked him everywhere because I am absolutely done. There's no way I'm going to take back a cheater. But he has been talking to my mom every day, begging her to talk to me to make me change my mind about the breakup. My mom thinks I'm the meanest person alive because she doesn't know why I broke up with him. She just thinks I just stopped loving him. Yesterday was my aunt's birthday and my mom had planned a whole birthday dinner for her at her place. So I go over to my mom's house, I'm talking to my aunt, and then I hear a knock on the door. My mom's doors have windows, so you can always see who's knocking, and guess who it was? I get so mad when I see that it's my ex because I know my mom is behind it. Before my mom has a chance to open the door, I start yelling, being like, what is going on? And my mom says, I invited him because he's part of the family. Whether you guys are broken up or not, he's always going to be a part of this family. And in that moment, I wanted to tell everybody that the reason why I had broken up with him was because he was an asshole and cheated on me, but I wasn't ready to face that humiliation in front of my entire family. Before my mom has a chance to open the door, I start panicking and I run towards the bathroom. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do next, and my mom's pressuring so much, she's just knocking on the door saying you need to come out to talk to your ex. I'm panicking, I don't know what to do. There's no way that I would ever walk out of that bathroom to talk to him. So I just jump out of my bathroom window and get in my car and go home. And my mom called me a while after, telling me that she's cutting ties with me because of my behavior. She's like really fixated on how I jumped out of the window. And then again telling me that my ex is always gonna be like a child to her regardless of what I want or not. I'm already devastated, and on top of that, my sister then calls me to yell at me, saying how bad of a person because of how I had treated mom. So that's when I had had enough and I broke down and I told her the reason why I dumped my ex is because he cheated on me. And that's also why I never want to see him or speak to him again. And I thought after this information, she's obviously going to take my side. But no, she called me a liar. She said I was making this up to try to cover for myself. So I got cheated on and now my family doesn't speak to me because I don't want to stay with my cheating ex. So for many years, I worked as a pole dancer, and I have no shame in what I did, and I only quit because I got a better job. Back when I was working as a pole dancer, I made sure to live as cheaply as possible. Like, I never went shopping, always with old clothes. I lived in a very bad apartment because all my coworkers told me at the time that as long as you don't spend a lot of money, you were able to buy your own place with that income. So before I retired, I managed to outright buy myself a 3-bedroom apartment. I met my boyfriend about a year ago, and he knows about all of this. There are no lies between us. He's never had a problem with my employment history. However, he makes sure that his family doesn't know, and they think that I was a waitress. About a month ago, we found out that I'm 2 months pregnant, and we got super excited. And he immediately says that we should move in together. I immediately assumed he'd be moving into my place because he rents his and I own mine. I don't want to leave my flat because I own this place and I could see myself living here forever. But he doesn't agree, and he says that we should buy a place together and that I should sell mine. I told him that I don't want to sell this flat because it was a lot of years of working really hard and saving a lot of money to be able to buy this flat. And that's when he finally admitted that he didn't want to live at a place that I had bought with the money that I got from my previous job. And I told him that I wasn't going to lose the security of owning a home just because he's embarrassed of what I did. He said that his point was that if I sold this house, then we could buy one together with the money from the sale. And that's when I asked him, well, wouldn't that be pole dancing money too? He said it's completely different, and I asked him how, and that's when he said that he was too tired to talk and he had to head home because he couldn't talk to me while I was in that state. Now he's been texting me nonstop saying that I overreacted and that I need to calm myself down, saying that I need to think about this logically rather than emotionally. He then brought up the fact that he didn't want to raise a kid in this house. I'm kind of questioning if I'm in the wrong here because I talked to my sister and she's siding with him. So am I in the wrong here? I've always been the person that doesn't believe in breaks in relationships. I always thought, like, if my boyfriend one day comes to me and he says, oh, I need a break, then I'd just be like, no, we're actually just gonna break up. Never thought that this was gonna happen. I've been dating my boyfriend for 4 years and we've always had a great relationship, but he just told me that he wants to take a break. I noticed some signs, to be honest, I can't lie. One of the first signs that I noticed was when he went away to a festival with his friends and he came back following 5 more random girls. So I go crazy and I tell him, like, what is this? Why are you following these girls? Who are these girls? He tried to make me believe that they were just old friends that he lost contact with, and all of a sudden he just bumped into them at the festival. But I wanted to be sure that he was lying to me, so I actually have a burner account and I went and I followed all of those girls. Because if they were his old friends, then they would all follow each other too. I follow them in my second account and none of them are following each other. So this means that he basically flirted with all these girls separately. What are the odds that you find so many old friends all of a sudden at this festival? After having this proof, I confront him. Like, I told him, they don't follow each other, so you lied. They're not your old friends. So instead of saying anything else or even admitting to being a liar, he just ignored it and he said, maybe we should take a break because you're clearly not happy with me. I know that he's manipulating me and he's trying to make me feel bad about what he did. Some of my friends say that I shouldn't break up because he followed some girls, that that's not that big of a deal, but I think it's that big of a deal. So I'm in need of opinions. I'm dating my bully's younger brother. So this girl wasn't just my bully, like, she actually made me want to unalive myself back in high school. Like, I cannot even begin to tell you the things that she would do to me in high school and like how she turned everyone against me, and I had no friends because of her. So this wasn't just her being mean, she was an actual evil person. I didn't know anything about her life. I had no idea that she had any siblings. I graduated 5 years ago and I haven't seen her since, but some of the things that she did to me still scar me. So now I'm dating someone that I've met through a dating app, and I'm actually about to go meet his family tomorrow for dinner because a couple of days ago he told me, like, I really want you to meet my family, and then he shows me a picture of his 2 sisters and his parents, and one of the sisters is that girl, like the meanest girl from my high school. That's his sister. I know just how pissed she's going to be when she sees me because this girl hated me. So I'm both nervous and excited to go meet the family tomorrow. I just can't wait to see the look on her face when she sees that her brother is in love with me. So yeah, I never got revenge on her, but I think this kind of equates to that. My ex cheated on me and now he wants to keep our dog. I've never thought about this. My boyfriend cheated on me and that's fine. I'm not going to talk about that. But we are in the process of breaking up. We live in the same house, but the problem is we have a dog and we've been together for 5 years and we've had the dog for 5 years. And now I don't know what to do. I said, you cheated on me. You were the one that was at fault for this breakup, so I keep the dog. He never really cared about the dog. I don't know if he's doing this out of spite because I found out that he was cheating on me and I wanted to break up and he really didn't want to break up. But it's like, you cheated on me. That's, there's no way in hell that I'm going to forgive you. I really do think that he's doing this out of spite. If I knew that he actually, you know, really loved the dog as much as I do, then I would, I guess, have more sympathy, even though it's hard because, you know me. So right now having sympathy for him is really difficult, but I'm trying. I've thought about just like moving out without saying anything and taking the dog with me, but I don't know if I'll feel bad about it. I don't know. But people don't take it seriously, but I can't live without my dog and I can't see his face again, so there's no way that once I move out of here, he's going to like go visit the dog or like go spend the weekend with the dog. That sounds so weird. No, I'm feeling kind of bad, to be honest. I've never talked to someone who was in a situation like this, so I'd leave without saying anything. Am I kidnapping the dog? I don't know.